Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time round, we're checking out Strange Eons. This is a partial conversion mod for Doom that is pretty damn huge. It's spread across 5 episodes, and puts you in the shoes of an archaeologist searching for, I'm pretty sure, his dead son in some crazy screwed up dreamlands using some ancient tablets that he found at a dig. It's all very Lovecraftian in its inspiration, and it's suitably strange. I mean, granted, the backstory that I just reeled off there is something you have to get from a PDF file, but even if you just jump straight into the mod, you'll still get the idea that this is a weird, unsettling, and off-kilter place, and that's just through virtue of the level design. It's a mod that's got a really remarkable clarity of theme going on. It's probably a good job that Strange Eons is so strong on that particular aspect, because when it comes down to the core gameplay, to the combat, there's not really that much particularly different for you to experience here. It's still remarkably vanilla. Sure, there's a few weapon swaps, the machine gun here taking the place of the chain gun. I think a lightning gun of sorts taking the place of the plasma gun, but good luck ever finding that during the campaign. And a few extra power-ups. You get a unlimited ammo sphere and another sphere that can increase your attack speed. Both pretty entertaining and interesting inclusions, but when you get right down to it, when you want to get to the heart of what Strange Eons is all about, it's all about the levels. It's all about exploring those weird, twisted spaces. And it's also about discovering what happens when you fall off the edge of the world, because, as you'll notice, I'm not dead, and I can't begin to tell you how much of a neat touch that is, because it cuts out so much potential frustration, and it also adds a little bit extra to the exploration of the levels themselves, because falling off the edge does not mean death. It does not mean having to restart the entire thing from scratch. It means you've got a little bit more leeway to be a bit risky, because there's a few other floating platforms in some of these levels with helpful items scattered across them, and you've got less of that apprehension to just go for it and see if you can make that jump, because you can always just come back to it without having to run the entire gauntlet all over again. And that just, to me, implies that the author behind this clearly had the core player experience in mind when creating and designing these levels and how they would work, and that's pretty damn awesome. If big floaty platform places aren't your particular jam, however, do not worry. Strange Eons does have a pretty wide variety of environments for you to play through here. A lot of the levels are actually really creatively put together. This one in particular is fantastic. I absolutely love it to bits. It's called Juggernaut, and it takes place on a giant rolling fortress, and I just, yeah, as I said, I just love it to bits. And hopefully, in a sec, I'll be able to show you one of my favorite parts of this particular level's design, because it's not just the fact that it's supposed to be on a rolling fortress, it's that it's designed in such a way to ram that point home and incorporate it into the design and the gameplay of the level itself. It's friggin' great. While I'm at it, there's just something about the way these worms die that just makes my stomach churn ever so slightly. It's a really fantastic choice, especially with regards to the theming. It's another thing that makes you feel a little bit uneasy, a little bit off-kilter within this world. But here we are, this is the bit I was on about. Here we are on the tank treads of the rolling fortress. How cool is this? It's just something that fantastically sells the illusion of what's supposed to be going on within this level. It's just an absolutely awesome touch, and it screams quality, and that's something I think that runs across the entire mod, that runs across the entirety of Strange Eons. This is a mod that just absolutely screams quality. Strange Eons is a great example of not having to screw around with the formula too much in order to achieve something that is genuinely enjoyable and interesting to play. I mean, let's face it, the original formula for Doom is still pretty enjoyable in the first place, but here there's just enough tweaked in the makeup of it to keep you engaged and to, you know, pique your interest throughout the course of a campaign. I mean, you may have noticed that some of the enemies here are a little different. I mean, we've got the worms, which are admirably disgusting, and pretty much our replacement for the pinky demons. We've also got weird floaty replacements for cacos, and those can hit you with poisonous blasts, which are pretty annoying. Imps are gonna imp, like imps usually do. I'm not quite sure whether they launch more projectiles than usual here. I think they do, ever so slightly more. And the Arachnotrons are now retrofitted with railguns, which is always fun to deal with, but it does encourage you to deal with them in slightly different ways whenever you encounter them. Same goes for the Revenants. Revenants now have railguns mounted on their shoulders, but mercifully, you don't really encounter them in too many troublesome situations. In fact, I'd say that the difficulty curve of Strange Eons is actually remarkably well judged. I'm going to be honest with you, mods like this are a pain in the ass for me to cover because they do so many things right that I just don't really have much room to bitch about stuff or complain about things that they could have done a little bit better, because truth is, I look at this stuff, I see how well made it is, how well it's put together, the clear attention to detail, and I can't with any clear conscience bitch about it, because then I look at the stuff I'm trying to make, the maps that I'm trying to construct, and I think, yeah, I really should, you know, probably spend a bit more time and get up to the level of this kind of stuff, because it is just solid work all round. But you know what, if you forced me to come up with a criticism, to find some flaws for Strange Eons, at most I'd probably say that as you progress through the many episodes and the many levels available, you may find that some of the level designs, the level layouts, get a little bit unfocused as you progress. You're probably going to find yourself standing around scratching your head more often than you'd like to as you get into some of the more complicated and obscure levels. But other than that, I really can't complain. I really honestly can't complain. There's enough progression here, there's enough new stuff doled out as you go through these campaigns that you will happily, you know, chew through most of the content available in one big sitting, which is what I did. I did like the first 2 episodes in one go, and it's like, wow, that was pretty entertaining. I kind of ran out of steam, you know, about halfway through the 3rd episode. I did dabble in a few levels in episode 4 and 5, but I think I was just too entirely burnt out on playing it to really evaluate it and enjoy it as much as I'd like to. But I can't deny the quality is still there. It's still something that permeates the entire mod, and it is definitely something you should check out if you've got a hunger for a really solid classic Doom-inspired campaign with a few interesting and intriguing twists, and a nice vibe, a nice atmosphere as well that can very occasionally get under your skin. So with that in mind, if you don't mind being unsettled ever so slightly, be it by the environment, the enemies you'll encounter, or the spooky soundtrack, then Strange Eons is almost certainly a mod that you should give a whirl. My only regret here is that I haven't been able to show you more of the available levels, because there is just so many of them. It's really hard to narrow down the ones that I wanted to capture footage for. But yeah, it's tremendously solid. It's not a groundbreaker, it's not doing anything particularly mad or crazy, and it's not an overwhelming hardcore challenge for all you die-hard players out there, but hey, at the very least, you can always bump up the difficulty if you find it a little too easy for your taste. But in either case, no matter what you choose, the link, as usual, is in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments, and feel free to chuck in any suggestions for mods you'd like to see me cover in future episodes of Doom Mod Madness. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.